Good morning, Lauren. So, the first piece of writing I can remember. What was it about and how old was I? It was in high school. I started writing it in high school in the second year because after exams I wanted to go for a coffee and my friends were all studying. So I was home alone and I thought, okay, why not write a book? And honestly, that is the first time I ever remember having that thought. I don't think I ever considered writing a book before, although I read a lot, obviously. So I just got to writing, and for some reason I wrote in English. I don't know why, but I'm really glad for the decision. And it was about a boy who was. Something happened to his village. He was attacked by pirates, and then he was wandering alone. And then he was picked up by a wandering magician because he had talent in magic. And then he got inserted into revolution, and he made friends, had adventures, and then grew up, and then eventually the revolution progressed and stuff happened. It was very standard fantasy adventure action like, and it was also completely shit. But it's just I have an emotional attachment to this story. I have tried editing it once or twice, but the first part, the first half that I wrote while in high school, it's almost unsalvageable. It needs to be completely rewritten if I want to go anywhere with it at some point. The second half that was written in the second year of university, that is better. That's okay. But the first half is yeah. So what's my favorite part of the job? The way I write is that I have a plan, and then as I'm writing, I found out that oh no, I hadn't planned for this, and this doesn't work anymore. And then I think, what is the coolest thing I could do? Like, what was the coolest thing that could happen right now? And I do that, and I hope it goes well. Sometimes that's what I do. And the best part is when that ends up going well, and I have written a lot of really cool things that I'm not sure how exactly they will all fit together. And at some point, as the story progresses and I'm reaching, a climax, suddenly I have an epiphany and I realize that everything can just bind together. And it's like I had everything planned from the very beginning, and it's super cool. And I'm really relieved because now there is no longer a problem to solve, and everything has worked out, and that's perfect. That's like super gratifying. So my biggest inspiration, undoubtedly, One Piece, the anime One Piece. It's the first anime I ever watched. I think it was in middle school, junior high school, and I loved it, and I still follow it even after so many years. I think more than 10 years now. And it has been hands down my greatest inspiration. Now, one piece of advice for anyone wanting to take the leap into publishing. I would say, assuming that somebody already writes a bit, okay, so they want to get published. I would say that to write a story that has good chance of getting published, what you should do is you find out what genre you like reading, and I mean, what genre you want to write, and probably you like reading it as well. And you need to find out what makes that genre tick. Like, when you read those stories as a reader, what kind of feeling and what kind of structure and what is it that you see and you like, yeah, I love this. And what are the structures that you read and you like, okay, I could do without this. So it's really important to research your genre and look at what you like, what you enjoy of that genre as a reader, and look at what the top stories of that genre are doing and what they have in common, and they will have some things in common. And when you dissect the genre like that, you know what emotion you need to invoke in your readers, and what emotions and in what order and in what intensity are generally used in your genre of choice. And when you know that, having the right structure for a story can really help show up any other weaknesses that you might have. Because if you're just starting to write, maybe your writing won't be top notch, or maybe your characters will be a bit unrealistic, or your plot will have some holes. But if you have the right structure, and the reader who, for example, if you're writing progression fantasy, a reader who has read a lot of progression fantasy, they will go to your story, and it doesn't matter if you have a few holes, because they will see that familiar structure and they will follow it and they will love it all the same. So that research your genre. And finally, any new upcoming projects I am excited about. I have this new story that I'm writing. It's about a necromancer in a world where necromancers are considered full evil, and he's a good guy. So everybody perceives him as evil when he's actually just trying to be good. And then the story transforms into a structure that I've wanted to write for a long time, where it's this guy, Jerry, and some of his friends, undead or living or any friends, and they have formed a team and they go to various places and they interact with the very different settings and cultures of those places. And they have fun adventures, and there is action and warmth and feelings and wholesomeness and comicness and all those nice things that make up an adventure for me. And I think when that story, I've written one book already of that, but when it does go out into the world, it will be awesome. That's it. Thank you very much.